So this is a subject that someone sent me, ZKman44. He sent me this little subject right here. And this one I think is kind of interesting. The subject in question is, when did characters shine? Basically, what it means is, like, when did you guys think that a character shined? Now, this isn't really like a question of the day. This is just a little topic. Now, I'm going to name off a couple of events and events or story arcs where, characters shine the most. First off is you see the picture right here, Kraven's Last Hunt. Now, this is not only an essential Spider-Man story arc, this is also an essential story for Kraven. This is where Kraven, where people really took Kraven seriously. Not saying they took him seriously before, but in Kraven's Last Hunt, we got to see how far Kraven is willing to go, how far Kraven was willing to go to take down Peter Parker. So in that sense, you got to give Spider-Man a lot of credit for, like, this was also a shining moment for Spider-Man 2, taking on one of his earliest and one of his most dangerous villains in, combat. So you got to give a lot of credit there. Another one where you could say, where it's not just heroes that shine, let's look at a lot of villains too, like the death of Gwen Stacy right there. That's another essential moment for Spider-Man, but also the Green Goblin. That's an essential moment for a shining moment for, Norman Osborn. I can't believe I just blanked on that. The other moments, there are moments like other shining moments, like let's take for instance, in teen books. I'm going to take a look at teen books a lot in here. One moment, I guess you could say, is JLA New World Order. In there wasn't a lot of favoritism, but where I feel like the book really shined on was Martian Manhunter. Because these were the White Martians were basically like monsters from his past, and this really, while Grant Morrison was really good at no really big favoritism on the book, it really felt like, in my opinion, that in JLA, especially in Grant Morrison's JLA run, especially in New World Order, that story arc, the first volume, it felt like Grant Morrison really liked to pay a lot of attention to, Martian Manhunter the most. John Jones. Same thing goes for Aquaman and Brightest Day. They shined a lot on him, making him the element of water, losing his hand. It's also another good moment. It's also shining moments for Hawkman, and a lot of other lesser known characters. I feel like the B-list characters, especially in the DC universe, are getting a lot of love lately. Like characters like they're really starting to be they're starting to shine. Like Aquaman, like I can't wait for his ongoing coming soon. Can't wait to get Aquaman. Can't wait to read Aquaman. Deadman was also another character that shined. Even in Nightfall, you could take a look and argue that another definitive moment and shining moment, for Batman, but it's also one for Bane, because no villain did what he did in the Batman Rogues. Bane will always be remembered the man that broke the bat. And you got to give a lot of credit to the both characters, because this is also a definitive moment where Batman where it was like broken down. This is basically what it is, like not just shining moments, but also essential moments in comic book history, where this is, I guess, what ZKman44 wanted me to take a look at and do a little rant on, which is fine. There are a lot of moments I could go back and take a look and just thoroughly explain why there are just so many, definitive moments for a lot of characters. Because there's so many these days. I mean, even back then there was a lot of definitive moments, especially in like teen books. Like let's take for instance Fantastic Four 3. Johnny Storm shined the most, especially at the end. Another good one I could tell you is Batman No Man's Land. That was a definitive moment for not just Batman, but also a lot of the other characters in Gotham City, because that was just a a life-changing event right there. That was an event that, really shook up the Batman universe. There are just so many guys of definitive and shining moments for characters that I could go on and on and on about this, but I just sound like a total dweeb doing this. Yeah, that's a word you don't hear much, dweeb. Even in, there are other moments that I could just point out randomly, like Death of Superman. Big moment for Superman and Doomsday, because we finally got to see a character that could actually beat down and kill the character of Superman. We also got to see, not only that, we got to see Reign of the Supermen, which shined on Steel, Cyborg Superman, the Eradicator, and Superboy. 4 characters, 2 of which that didn't, 3 of which that, I should say 2, Eradicator and Superman, not Superman, Steel, that didn't get all the limelight, and the arrival of 2 other characters that would eventually become essential characters to the Superman universe, Cyborg Superman and Superboy. This was also, after Superman was gone, this was another proving ground for Supergirl. Not the Supergirl we know, but, you know what I mean. But I could go, on and on and on about this subject just over and over again. It's just, it's a good subject, I'm not gonna lie, it's a good subject, but I could go on and on. But I just wanted to have, I just wanted to, talk about, just real briefly, about some of some moments in comic book history that I think are, definitive moments and shining moments for characters. But yeah, you can thank ZKman44, who asked me to do this little subject, so I went, sure, what the hell. So yeah, there you go. Those are just a couple moments that I think are essential and shining moments for characters. You guys tell me yours. I'm curious to know what you guys would consider shining moments or essential moments for characters. I think this is a very good subject. You guys can video response. You guys can comment below. You guys tell me, what do you guys think? What events or shining moments do you consider for characters of any kind, of any company, basically?